I know all the tools, all the resources, and I've made all the mistakes. So if you are new to us, I hope that this blesses you and you are encouraged and you hear ideas about technology that you've never heard before. If you've been with us, it is an updated presentation, so it's exciting. We will have some fresh ideas for you and some new ways that we've partnered with the many people that work with us here to keep your kids safe online. You joined an online school, which means that your kids are going to be in front of a computer for a couple of hours a day, at least 4 days a week. Many of you have mobile devices. We live in a world where your children's future is dependent upon their ability to know and use technology. And just as God is in this world, and PG shared with us this morning, the king of the universe, the prince of this world is Satan. And that enemy is lurking around that tech. And how many of you have maybe met him and know him and see him there? I know I have. He comes after me, and he's coming after your kids. And we care a lot about that. And we're not an online school that's just going to say, hey, you should put something on your device. Yeah, that's hard. That's not the Valor way. So instead, we're going to say, yep, it's hard, and we want to partner with you. I want to start with a little fun video. I'm hoping that the sound works. This is our class called Screen Talk. It's a class where we teach your kids how to use their technology. And once you sign off on the way they're using their technology, then you can decide if they should get more of it. So our Screen Talk middle school class, we did this recently when we started. It's very short.
Sounds horrible.
Thank you, Madeline. The reason that we start there, and I tell them, hey guys, there's not actually a cloud. And at one time, this is how we got online. And I show them the wires that actually run through the bottom of the ocean. And they realize, all the things you tell them about how it used to be, the phone used to be connected to the wall, and is because we come at technology with a place of privilege and gratitude. It is not an entitlement. It is not a right. It is just something that, it's not something you just get because you were born. It is an opportunity, and it is something that we will be grateful for. And when we can step into gratitude and thankfulness with it, how many of you know when you start your day being thankful for your spouse or your kids, you tend to treat people about the way you think about them. So we really start to get our kids excited learning about what actually is this, why do I have this, and how should I be using it, because it is an opportunity and a privilege. So this is our technology promise to you. Let's go to that next slide, Madeline. This is something that we wrote up last year, and it really articulates the way that we value it. We believe it's an opportunity, and we believe that it is here to spread the gospel. If any of you have ever Googled, like, hey, how has technology actually affected Christianity? It's profound. Because now people can sit in their PJs with their DoorDash on their Wi-Fi and watch a message without shame because they're alone, and they can be like, wait, what? What did Jesus do, and what did he do for you, and what can he do for me? So the spread of the gospel with our technology is the goal that we are going for when we are raising Christ-centered, compassionate creators here in community. And so the community part is where this starts, not just with how we help with what your kids are doing on tech, but we come alongside you and we ask that really critical question that Angie shared yesterday. Do any of you remember what that question was that she shared that you should be hearing a lot this year? How can I partner with you? I'd like to partner with you on this. Let's go to the next slide. We also, Mr. Fig just talked about classroom-linked assignments. And he talked about the way that we teach here at Valor, and that we now have curriculum that has a biblical integration. So does our technology. It's really important that as parents, you recognize what technology actually is. Because if you look at the definition of it, it's really the application of knowledge to the practical aims of being human. Is technology in the Bible? Did God use technology? What's the first thing that happened when Adam and Eve woke up? A fig leaf. That's technology. And if you were to pull up the Bible and you were to start to read through it, you would see moment after moment opportunity after opportunity, person after person. Tables that were flipped, bronze tools, towers, arrows, city gates that were gathered at, arcs that were built, lamps that went below your feet, fishing nets, letters that were written by Paul, arrows in the hands of a warrior, chariots, wells, tabernacles, temples. It goes on. And all of this could be defined as technology. So what is it about it that we need to do as parents? What is it about the technology of today? If it's not a chariot and a temple and a bronze tool, we pick it up and we use it for good. We pick it up and we build. You can pick up a hammer and you can break down a house. And you can pick up a hammer and you can build up a mansion. It is all about how your kids are using it. And in order for them to use it well, you're going to have to, ladies, I was in there this morning when Angie said this phrase that you will also hear a lot. You are going to have to be curious with your kids before you are critical about what they're doing. So this is just kind of a brief slide that really articulates how we approach the process here. All of your kids are using technology for various reasons, but the depth of the core of what they're trying to do is connect with entertainment, with a relationship, with who am I? I will never forget the first time it came into my house. I have 6 kids in a blended family, and my oldest, who is actually a Valor grad and married to a Valor grad, which is kind of cool. So my oldest, he was about like 11, and he'd been saving up his money and all of his allowance, and he was, when they just start to like want a little bit of freedom, and you're like, okay, you can ride your bike somewhere, okay. So he asked to ride his bike to the store. I thought he meant the like 7-Eleven down the street, because it was like Banana Slurpee Day, right? Okay, I think we're ready for that. You can ride your bike down the street to 7-Eleven for a Banana Slurpee. So he takes off, and he's gone a little longer than I thought. He doesn't have a cell phone. We really have no kids with tech yet in our house. And he comes back, and it's a little longer than normal. And he's kind of standing there, and he's got this paper bag in his hand. And if you grew up in Oregon, you know what Bimart is. Bimart, right? Doug's like, oh, the good old Bimart. It's still there. Family owned and operated. You got to show your card to get inside. So good. So he comes back, and he's got this little paper Bimart bag. And he had bought a $29.99 burner phone at Bimart. I had no idea this was a longing of his. I didn't even know how they worked. I'm like, are you working for the CIA? Like, what is going on? Why didn't you just talk to me about this? And he said to me, Mom, a couple of my friends have phones, and they all met up at the park last week, and I couldn't go because they couldn't get a hold of me because they didn't have your number, and moms. And what he was saying was, Mom, my friends are building relationships, and I want to be a part of them, and I seem to need this technology to do it. And that's what your kids are trying to say to you when they are flailing and wailing and asking and begging and I'll do anything and sneaking under the covers and taking it into the bathroom. Really? You were doing that for that long in there, right? They are they're trying to build, they're looking for connection, they're building relationship, but all the while it looks so much different than when we were growing up. Because when we were growing up, if I wanted to have a friend over, I wanted to hang out, they had to come through my front door and shake my mom's hand and see my dad and eat my mom's magic macaroni and cheese of the day. And my mom got to talk to them, and we were in the house and we were around. And so my parents were very much a part of who I was hanging out with. And I don't know about you, but when I see my kid on their phone and texting and laughing, I'm like, I just feel lonely. I just feel lonely. I'm like, who is that? What are you doing? It's fine, Mom. It's so-and-so. Oh, and then I try to act real cool. Are you keeping your snap streak up? Mom, I get the eye roll. Or, what are you doing with that? And it's not that they don't want us to be involved, that they're doing anything sneaky, that they're doing anything bad. It's that just like when you were a kiddo and you were writing notes in class and you were talking in the hallway and you were trying to hang out and build friendships and figure out who am I and who are they and am I a friend and are they a friend, that's what they're doing on their phones. And they need you to begin to trust them, to support them, to train them. I like to call this the cycle of training them into their calling with their devices, an opportunity, a privilege, a gift. And then I talk about how once you've trained them, you trust them. You have to trust them if you want them to trust you. Same dynamic as you're feeling with your best friends and in your marriage, relationships require trust. And it is totally reasonable to say, here is this device, here is this new app, here are my expectations. And I'm going to talk to you in a minute about how you do that with some of the tools that we've created here at Valor. We have screen agreements and freedom ladders and conversation guides and all kinds of cool things to help you. And so when you get to that point where you're ready to trust, you've set the requirements, okay, go to that basketball game. I will see you at 10. Text me if you're late. I have you on Life 360, so it's not that big of a deal, right? And off they go. And they text you when they're going to be 5 minutes late because a friend needed a ride home. And instead of, you were supposed to be home at 10, you're like, you're giving a friend a ride home? I really admire that. What a servant's heart. That's fantastic. Thank you for texting. That is how you respond. That is how you build trust. You let them see that the phone is being used with, by, and for God's will, His goodness, His Holy Spirit goodness. Many of you, I know, I follow you on social media, and you're posting scripture, and you're telling people about what you're doing in your family, and you're sharing about your kids, and you're encouraging entrepreneurs. You're building businesses, you're raising money, you're keeping a roof over your head with your phones, and then you're going to turn around and yell at your kid when they're trying to use it to have a friend or do something or go somewhere or build their life up according to their calling. That's just downright hypocrisy. So pushing away, denial, ignoring, that is not the Valor way. We welcome, we listen, we trust, we train, we toss them out, they try, and then we bring them back in and we repeat. The goal in my home was that by the time my kids were seniors in high school, all monitoring was off, all restriction was off. Because guess what? Pretty soon, even if they don't go off to college or go off, I have one that went into trade school, or I have one that is a baker, and absolutely the most fantastic baker and cake decorator that I've ever met in my whole life. But she moved out of our house right after she graduated. So she's got her phone all by herself now. And so when you give them the opportunity by the time they're older to have not a lot of monitoring, what you get to do is come alongside because you've built this trust and say, hey, something seems off with you, or I haven't seen you engaging with family. Do you need something from me? How can I love you well today? You don't seem like your best self. You get to lean in with that curiosity, and you get to help them discover, I think I had 10 hours of screen time yesterday, Mom. Oh, that's tough. What are you going to do? Do you want me to help? Do you want restrictions? And actually, what were you doing? Well, I actually had a kiddo. I had this exact conversation because I realized that she'd been on her phone late at night after she was going to bed. And so my husband and I approached her in what I call a land of the plane moment. We don't yell at our kids about technology when you're in the middle of a flight, right? You got a broken wing, you got to land the plane and have a calm conversation that you are prepared for, that you have practiced and rehearsed. My husband and I have had many conversations where I'm like, well, she's just going to say, this is my friend and you did that time and I'm just going to do. And I'm like, okay, then what do we say? And we say, well, we hear you. That does sound hard. These are still the restrictions that we have for you. This is still where you're at. And if you want to have TikTok in your room at 11 o'clock at night, then we first have to get TikTok on my phone. I got to help you craft a feed that fills your brain with good things. And once we're doing that well, then let's you make a TikTok and post it on your account. And we'll get up the freedom ladder to where you're ready to take that TikTok into your room. Okay? So I had this one kiddo that was on her phone late at night. And sure enough, we start prying into like, what's been going on? And discover that she realized, she's like, well, I just go in my room and I'll like turn on some worship music when I can't sleep. And she kind of lowers her head and she's like, I really love Pinterest boards. She kind of shrugs her shoulders and we're like, okay. And she goes, so I'm just building Pinterest board after Pinterest board of all the places I want to travel. We're like, here we are sure that she's, involved in some undercover scheme of some sort and gonna ruin. She's like, it just really it sets my mind at ease, and I can go to sleep much easier because she's being creative, she's being hopeful, she's listening to worship music, she's feeling loved. And if we had just come in and taken the phone away and yelled at her and said, you can't and you're not and you're a bad kid for that, no, our kids are not bad. Our kids are never bad. They are good kids in a fleshly, broken soul trying to figure out technology just like you are. And so ask those questions and step in. So this is kind of our parenting philosophy. And like I said, at the end, I'll put a QR code up and you can scan it. And there's literal conversation guides about how do I have a hard conversation. Some of you are in a space of, oh no, help, I'm stuck, my kids got trouble, they're consuming more than they're creating online, we've got apps that are out of control, and I have to backpedal and start over. We can help you. Some of you are just in the beginning stages. We're just trying to figure out, what do I need to give my kid? When's the right time? How do I do it well? How do I teach them well? We can help you. And so we have a lot of places that we'll step into and talk. The person next to you, to the left and to the right of you, they are doing the same thing you are. Trying to raise up these creators, these beautiful creations who were created to create with the tech of today in this world. Lean on them. Because I'm telling you right now, your kids are each other's eyes and ears on tech. Your kids, they share, they like, they tag, they're in a room together, they pick up their phone, and all they need is one person to say, I don't think we should post that. Okay? They help each other. They call each other up, so you call each other up. It's really, really powerful. So one of the ways, next slide, Madeline, this is kind of the list of the things that I shared about how we partner with you. These are the tools that are available. Like I said, we have classes. We actually are going to start next semester a new class called Digital Citizenship. And we're going to learn about rings of responsibility. What's your first ring of responsibility? To God. It's this little tiny close circle. I check in with God on my words. I check in with God on what I say, what I post, what I do, who I see, and how I'm using my phone. What's your next ring of responsibility? Myself. Am I honoring my calling? Am I honoring my future self, as Tia teaches us about? Am I honoring where I want to go? And then what's my third ring of responsibility? My family. Am I checking in with them? Am I being nice to my parents? Am I using this to build and not break down? And what's your fourth? My community. So we'll go through all kinds of things in our elementary digital citizen class, and they'll just begin to learn, even before they have phones, about things like I just shared with you about how God wants us to use tech to fight these spiritual battles in such a positive, healthy, good way. And what a blessing it is that we get to be those warriors for him. And so next slide. This is a very real, and those of you that have been with us are like, oh, the bark. But then you're like, I love the bark, but I hate the bark. And what bark does, and if you have an appointment with me later today, I'll walk you through this and teach you more about it. But what bark does is it monitors what your kids are doing through their valorschool.org account. So if they are logged in to valorschool.org on their Chrome browser, and they look up, they're trying to look up skits for summer camp, and they accidentally get a TI in the wrong place, we're going to find out what's going on, and you're going to get notified. Hey, just wanted you to see this. And I want you to know with full transparency that I am the one that receives those alerts. It is not something that all their teachers see. It's not something that Miss Angie sees. The severe alerts you will receive directly. All parents must be logged into the Bark parent portal. And it's a very easy click of a button. And so you will see an alert if something's going on. The good news is 9 times out of 10, like Mr. Fig is teaching washed and waiting on homosexuality, or somebody's class is teaching. I think we had some Shakespeare last year that set off a ton of bark alerts, and so most of the time it's just kids learning, but it's a software that just picks up on words about depression and suicide. We have saved lives at Valor with Bark. We have saved lives. Because what happens is we see that, and sometimes the kids even know when I have a relationship with them, and the advocates, if it's severe, the advocates will also be involved to come alongside your family and your kiddo and give perspective. And so sometimes the kids will even create a Google Doc. Mrs. Hardin, I need someone to talk to. Send. And Bark picks up like a sad kid, lonely. They put words in there, and all of a sudden I can reach out, we can get a parent involved, and because you know that this is opportunity to partner with your school, to be curious before you be critical, you get to help your child grow. Like they can grow by leaps and bounds because of the opportunity of Bark. So Bark will scan what they're doing. I can share the technical details of how that actually works. I get the notifications. If it's something severe that I think we need to lean into, I'll reach out to you and the advocates, and then we'll just have a chance to have a conversation. We'll begin praying together. We can get on a Zoom with you, or we also, just like we are asking you to trust your kids, we trust you. If I get a note back that says, thank you, we got it, you got it. I say a prayer and we move on. And you don't owe us anything more than that. We just want you to know we're here if you want more than that. We trust you with your kids. You know them best. And I think do I have one more slide, Madeline? Oh, yeah. So you can scan this, and this is where you'll find all the resources that I mentioned, the Freedom Ladder, which talks about like that TikTok journey of how you get them into more freedom once they've earned it. Another really powerful thing that might feel kind of awkward and obvious, but if you've got like a gamer, say, and you're not frustrated at the game, you just can't help but notice that they're a little irritable when they turn it off. They don't turn it off when the dinner bell rings or when you ask them to. But you set an intentional conversation with them. Right now is the time. Next week, can you imagine the kingdom roar of joy if each one of you sat down at your kitchen table and had an intentional, premeditated conversation about how you use technology in your family? You are starting an online school. This is a privilege and a gift from God. Here are the things that I need to work on in my tech. I make you a promise that when you need me, come in. Hey, Mom, I need you. I will not pick up my phone when you are in the middle of a sentence. Is that what you need from me? Actually, Mom, I just would really like it if you wouldn't text when you drive. Oh. But your kids know, and they all have different needs. Some of them, that doesn't bother them that much. Some of them, it really does, that when the ding goes off, that pocket is more important than whatever they're saying. Some of you set rules of, hey, if I'm working, if I'm on my phone, working, building my business, meeting friends, connecting with, coffee, maybe doing my morning devotion, and you walk in the room, immediately, the nice thing to say is, hey, can we talk for a second? When do you have a moment? And then you give your kids that same respect. You do not walk into the room when they're in the middle of texting, talking, sharing, and just say, hey, when you have a second, can we talk? Can you come find me? If a few hours goes by, you go back and say, I noticed, and you point to. So you have got to begin to normalize verbalizing how technology is used in your home. Normalize verbalizing. I appreciated that you did this. Thank you for turning that off and coming right to the dinner table. It really makes me feel seen and honored when you put your phone away when we sit down and get in the car. Okay, verbalize, make it normal to verbalize, talking about how you use your technology in your home, and start now. It's the reset, it's the new school year, and it is opportunity for you to realign and get on the same page in a screen agreement with your kids. I think I might be out of time. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity of your ear. I am here doing Bark session trainouts. If you guys need anything, come and find me. I have raised 6 kids. The youngest is 15, all the way up to 22. I've seen, I've tried, I've screwed up the app. I've tried to get the app myself. All of the things. I've seen the snaps I don't want to see. All of the things. And so I've been there, and I am with you. So I will pray over you specifically in the area of technology, and then I think we can bring the kids back. Oh, we'll do a couple questions. Yeah, I would love to do that. Oh, over here. Do you want to shout, or you want me to run you mic? Okay, go for it.
I know it's like not a generic rule, but is there a certain time, age that you would say it's time to go to a cell phone plan with your kids?
Great question. So when you say cell phone plan, are you meaning a literal like cell phone plan as a family, or are you meaning like how we use our cell phone plans?
Like a phone from my kid, like a phone for my kid in junior high, who is wanting now to start texting, and he's wanting to start doing some
Yep,
more advanced
absolutely. Great
phone
question.
usage.
Really common question that I get asked a lot. Here's the thing with that. When, just like you guys, I could pull out every 40-year-old in this room and y'all are going to be at different maturity levels. You're all going to have different things you're really good and self-controlled at and things that you're not. So what I find is at that age, when they start asking, you say, well, you know, one of the things I know about technology is that the way that you behave, the self-control that you show, the kindness and the faith that you demonstrate out of tech is what you'll do in tech. And you have great, your room has been clean. Your homework has all been in on time. You have been very gentle with your sister. I've seen you in, morning devotions. Your heart seems surrendered in this place. I know God is leading you. Let's give it a try. However, if you have a kiddo, they've got loose lips, they're obnoxious, their room is not clean, they will not follow your rules, they will not listen. They are, right? If you're seeing these behaviors, all they're going to do is pick those up and share them with the rest of the world. So I would encourage you to look at a couple of things that your kiddo's doing really well and call those out first. You're great at this. You'll need that on technology. You're great at, texting or typing or creating. These are a couple of areas that we'd like to see improved. And once we see that, we'll get a screen agreement in place around the right amount of hours. Use, I always suggest that you start in an open place. Okay, here is your new device. It lives right here, plugged into this wall. The first 3 weeks, it's gonna stay. It doesn't have to be an eternity. The first 3 weeks, it's gonna live right here. And you can sit right here and you can use it and you can ask questions and I can see and we can do this together. And then a little bit more, okay, let's unplug it. Bring it to the table, head to the dining room. Do you want to bring it in the car? So create kind of a layered effect and they will lean into that. And then when they regress, which they do, we do, you'll have the opportunity to go back to, remember why we gave it to you in the first place? How do I help you get back there? So it's really, I've found a lot more about maturity. Yeah. Any other questions? That was a good one. Those of you that have used Bark, do you have any advice for or seen Bark, advice for other parents that are coming in or how it worked? Oh man, I love that.
One of the best things though is getting a Tia. There's a question back there. You can go there next, but is getting a text from Mindee just saying, "Hey, something popped up. How do we partner together on this?" Because we really practice what we're speaking here, and if you let us and each other, not just as parents, but also the administrative staff, help you. Like, we're new to this. Some of us might be at kindergarten level with technology in our home, and Mindee might be a graduate, okay, and everywhere in between. So we're all at different levels, so it's depending on each other, but also just saying, Mindee, and she's an email away, right? I'm about ready to head into a conversation. I'm making sure my plane is not broken because I want to kill somebody. You've done this before. What would you do? I mean, this is a great time to do what the Bible says and say, seek godly wisdom, seek wise counsel before entering into some of these conversations if this is new for you as you're building trust, as they're building trust with you.
Yep,
So.
100%.
Hi, you may have mentioned this already. Is Bark a good application for their phones as well?
Yes, Bark does. They have a whole portal that just belongs to us. We've been with them for quite a while, and they do have an upgrade that All Valor Family is going to discount on, and that would be something that you could install on phones. I will tell you very directly, it works great on Samsung and but Apple really likes to do things the Apple way, and they don't really love the oranges of the world. And so, but I can help with Apple phones. There's some great ways in the back that you can help kids with just how much their time is and notifications and where you can be involved. So Bark does have features that are called Bark Family that will extend beyond their Valor School accounts and into their social media and their texting and all of those things. And I can explain those more if you want to come by the Genius Bar and we can see if your family is a fit. Yeah. Okay. Any more? Yay.
I think Mindee developed the technology ladder for us the first time. We were really scared about technology. I have 6 daughters when we first started. And we've been here 5 years. And I just, Bark isn't going to catch everything. Nobody's going to, fear has to be gone in Jesus' name. And one of the most dangerous prayers and most amazing prayers as a parent or a wife or whatever is, Lord, I trust you. Like, bring all things in darkness to light. If there's anything I need to know about, teach me, show me, reveal to me. Like, it's just, I pray it all the time with my kids. If there's anything I need to know, bring all things in darkness to light. And so the beauty is, Bark's been the bane of my existence. Not because we get alerts from Mindee. I can't get the thing to work. I'm like, okay, Jesus, just reveal it. But what Mindee's taught me and everyone else, and as we teach our kids personal responsibility and ownership and all the beautiful accountability, like that they choose, not that we're like lording over them. It becomes this beautiful dynamic relationship of you sense it in what's going on in their attitude and in their things, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Tell me how I can serve you. What do you need today? And so you're having conversations like that and recognizing they learn it. I mean, I have kids who are like, hey, Mom, I had to take Instagram off my phone because I was just spending way too much time on it. I think I'll put it back on in a month or two. Yeah. But can I check your phone for my Instagram? Sure, use my phone for your Instagram. They're choosing those choices because of the community and culture we're raising our kids in.
So good, Leslie. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better exactly, because what Leslie's pointing to is we don't have a technology problem, we have a sin problem. And our kids are picking up those phones, and as they learn how to use them well, they are making choices that go against who God says they are and what they need, and they get excited. And you guys, the honest truth is, none of your kids are looking at their phone going, it's probably not good for me. I might get in trouble. This is definite sin. God would not approve of this. This is bad. This is going to lead me down a really dark path. I'm going to do it anyways. Most of them are clicking before they even know where they are. And all of a sudden, they're lost in a deep, dark, black hole. And then the shame, and then the enemy starts tapping at their shoulder, and then the hide, which is why that trust is so important. And I would encourage any of you that have a story of anything technology-wise in your home. I had to come clean on my use of tech with my kids. Going back into my tech, letting it distract me at dinner, not serving my family well because I'd rather be on Instagram where people just told me I was right and liked me all day. I had to come to them with that. And I'm going to go get a little endorphin shot of being good and right over here before I come back and deal with you. I mean, I had to realize that that's what was going on. But what my kid needed me to do is show up and say, I don't know what to do. This is hard. Let's pray. Let's go to the Word. Let's cast out the lies, and let's figure it out together.